Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Felicia Foster, and I will be your Mistress of Ceremony today for this Black History Month program. But before we get started now, when I was growing up, my mom and grandmother taught me a song that says, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. And so just for a few moments, I want you to give yourselves a round of applause, not only for Black History Month, but just in celebration of all the things that is meant with African American culture and people serving the city of Dallas. So thank you so much for being here. You will have a formal greeting. And your clap was weak, so if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. All right, all right, all right. Also, will you give a round of applause for Herbie Johnson Jazz Band? Thank you so much for being here today. All right, so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kick this program off with our first invocation, and that's going to be none other than Cedric Segundiata.
Let us pray. Almighty God, the author of time and keeper of history, the great I am, we come before you in gratitude as we gather in this sacred place, the people's house of governance and service. Today we stand on the shoulders of those who paved the way, dreamers who dared, builders who bore burdens, and voices that echoed through the ages so that justice might roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. Lord, we remember the hands that toiled in the fields. We remember the feet that marched on roads paved with resistance, and the hearts that held on to hope when hope seemed distant. Yet by grace, they endured, and because they endured, we stand here today in the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. We give thanks for the trailblazers whose brilliance and resilience have shaped every corner of our society. Innovators who redefined science and medicine, artists and poets who gave voice to our deepest truths, activists who stood against the tides of injustice, educators who nurtured minds hungry for knowledge, and visionaries who built legacies that time could not erase. Through Black History Month, Lord, their names rise from the pages of history. Their accomplishments shine in the light of remembrance, and their sacrifices remind us that progress is both a gift and a solemn responsibility. Bless this meeting and all those gathered herein, along with the entire City of Dallas service family, a pioneering city manager, esteemed council, our dedicated mayor. May this city and these faithful servants be guided in wisdom and purpose forevermore. We ask this and all these things in your mighty and matchless name. We pray. Let us all say, amen.
Thank you for that, Cedric. And now we will have Reginald Jackson, who will sing the Black National Anthem, also backed up by Herbie Johnson and the Jazz Band.
Good afternoon, everybody. Would you please stand for the singing of the Black National Anthem? Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of
Come on, y'all can do better than that for Reginald Jackson. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to the band for backing him up. All right, we're gonna go ahead and read off our first bio for our speaker. All right. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Tennell Atkins, who has served District 8 on the Dallas City Council since 2007 and is currently in his 8th term. As Mayor Pro Tem and Chair of the Economic Development Committee, he is dedicated to driving growth, infrastructure, renewal, and business development in South Dallas. He also chairs the ad hoc committees on pension and administration while contributing to key policy areas like public safety, transportation, and legislative affairs. His leadership and commitment have made a lasting impact on the city of its residents. Would you please join me in welcoming Mayor Pro Tem Tennell Atkins.
Thank you very much. First, it's again honor to God. It's a blessing to be here. Amen. You know, this is something great when you come here and you look at Black history and the leadership with all your residents and all the citizens and all the workers here. And the purpose, a whole lot of people said, why do we celebrate Black History Month? And we celebrate Black History Month for a reason. We didn't ask to come to America. We were brought to America. We didn't ask to build America, but we built America. And we are here still building America because we were brought to America. And the generation before us and going forward, we are still building America. And if you look at the Great Depression, you look at all the infrastructure in the world they talk about today, you look at the White House. Who built the White House? Who built the White House? African American. We built the White House. We did all the mason work, the concrete, the railroad, the trees, the buildings, because we had skill, because we're free labor. But one thing that we did, a whole lot of people don't realize, we had to pay a price to be in America. We had to pay a price to vote, poll tax. And none of y'all probably remember what this poll tax is all about. Maybe your great-grandfather, your great-grandparents pay poll tax. Can you imagine you had to pay to vote? Can you imagine that you didn't get paid to plant a field? You were sharecroppers, you were slaves. And today we're not free, but in a way we still are free because of economics. But also you cannot make it out unless you are free. And free is economics. And that's what we're talking about today, economics. Everything is about economics. I have been chair of economic development, and you don't realize over a decade, the only African American have ever been chair of economic development for the city of Dallas. And I do it for one reason, because of people like you who work. Because if I do not bring business here, we cannot pay your salaries. If I cannot have sales tax and property tax and have business, we would not want to live in Dallas, in the city of Dallas. And to make sure that we have a great city. To have a great city is you. You are the city employees, you are the backbone, you are the foundation, you are everything. So give yourself a round of applause because you work for the city of Dallas, because you. And one thing I want to say about the employees who's here today, thank you for living in the city of Dallas, to pay property tax and shop in the city of Dallas. And that's what makes this city strive. And that is true economic development because you spend your dollars here in the city. And so with that, I know that I can talk forever, but I'm not going to talk forever. And we got a proclamation we're going to read to you. I ain't going to read all these whereas, because it's 2 minutes whereas, because, you know, but the key is that I want to thank my colleagues. I remember there was 2 people here last year in Black History Month. We had an African American mayor, was Mayor Eric Johnson. We had a mayor pro tem, which was Chanel Atkins. We had a deputy mayor pro tem, was Carolyn King Arnold. And that's probably never gonna be history before. Stand up, Carolyn King Arnold. They don't know who you are. Stand up. Stand up. And I love that old gold and black. Thank you, Soror sister. Now she's a Delta, but today she's a AKA. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna read some of these whereas, not all of them. Whereas the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, co-founded by Carter G. Woodson, known as the father of Black history, promote the achievement of Black African American by sponsoring the first National Negro History Week in 1929. The organization determined that the celebration should occur during the second week of February to consider with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. 2 days later, widely recognized at the time the African American community, whereas the decades that followed, elected officials in some cities across the country become voiced their support for Negro history week by issuing a year proclamation. Schools, churches, and civil groups were inspired to organize local celebrations, develop a history club, host cultural performance, and lecture and implement new education. Whereas by the late 1960s, during the civil rights era, college students and educators lacked passion lobby for Black history to be elevated in formal study at institutions of higher education and celebrated by all Americans. Whereas beginning in 1969, Southern Methodist University, I went to SMU, so I want to put that, you know, it was a white school, but hey, they did celebrate that. I got to put that. Also, our Paul Quinn College, the University of North Texas at Dallas College, the University of Texas at Dallas, the Texas Women's University, etc. African American Studies, Department of Culture, and celebrate Black History Month with program and special event, the ISD, followed in 1980, which districts celebrate. Gerald Ford became the first president to endorse Black History Month just in 1976. Since then, every American president had proclaimed February as Black History Month, with championship, specialized themes to the public, country around the world have responded by creating their annual celebration in turn, including Canada, the United Kingdom, and Ireland, whereas the history achievement considered of African American state are still often unrecognized, negligent, discount, in some case, excluded from American history. Many educated citizens in textbooks often spur the margin information circling the history of African American as well as other minority groups, impact precision of both past and present. And whereas in 2025, Black History Month theme move forward with purpose and impact, call us to recognize the foundation, contribution of African American and shape our history and future. Important Intention Act leadership honors pioneers whose legacy guide the way forward as we celebrate Black history. We recommit, amplify voices, address disparity, and drive meaningful change. Whereas by the knowledge of celebration of Black history during the month of February and throughout the rest of the year, I believe every day is Black History Month. Every day is Black History Day. I also inspired to renew new possibility of our future. Now, and therefore, our Mayor Pro Tem, on behalf of Eric Johnson of the City of Dallas, the entire City Council, I'll program February the 25th as Black History Month. But remember, when you leave here, what is it? Every day is what? Every day is what? Every day is what? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem Tennille Atkins. And I'm sure if you weren't listening, you heard him say that he is a black man, the first black man serving on the Economic Development Committee chair. So thank you so much for what you are doing and what you mean to the city of Dallas, Mayor Pro Tem Tennille Atkins. All right. Okay.
It said where as Carolyn Keene on. Can we get Chief Igo up here?
All right, Chief.
That's who got a chief?
Come on, Chief.
Give the chief a hand. Give Chief a hand. This is our new chief of the city of Dallas.
Hey, Chief, it's a pleasure.
Oh, Gay Donnell's Willis, come here. I see you, Gay. Come on, bro. Trying to hide out. Come on. You got called out. Come on.
Okay, I'm gonna get out this picture then. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, I saw you slipping in. I saw you in the back. You didn't slip too far. Okay. 8. 4 plus 4 equals 8.
Y'all give them a round of applause again. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem.
That's enough.
All right, moving right along, it is my pleasure to introduce our Assistant City Manager, Donzel Gibson, who will be speaking on behalf of our City Manager, Kimberly Beiser Tolbert. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and give a round of applause for our new City Manager, Kimberly Beiser Tolbert. Not trying to steal your thunder. All right. Assistant City Manager Donzel Gibson has dedicated 26 years to the City of Dallas, serving in key roles across multiple departments, including the City Auditor's Office, Budget and Management Services, Dallas Fire and Rescue, and the Dallas Police Department, and most recently, Director of Equipment and Fleet Management, where he led major efficiency and sustainability initiatives. Mr. Gibson played a pivotal role in optimizing fleet operations through the Alvarez and Marsal Fleet Efficiency Study. He holds both an undergraduate and graduate degrees in public administration from Midwestern State University. His extensive experience and commitment to innovation continues to shape our city operations and services. Please warmly welcome Assistant City Manager Donzel Gibson.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm upset with Ms. Foster. When I was looking at the agenda for today and I was looking at the list of speakers and she had me behind Mayor Pro Tem, how am I supposed to follow that, right? You ever done that? You ever been somewhere, been asked to speak, and then you see the order of people who are speaking, and so I'm humbled by today's event. I'm humbled that I was even asked to speak today. As I was introduced earlier by Ms. Foster, my name is Donzel Gibson, and I represent the City Manager's Office today. Events like this are key, right? Events like today, and I see all the people that are here represented from multiple departments, and not to be too color-codish, but it's not just black people here today, because we shouldn't be just celebrating, right? And whether it's Hispanic Heritage Month or Asian American Heritage Month, we should be celebrating diversity. But today the focus is on African Americans, right? So this year's theme, Moving Forward with Purpose and Impact, calls us to reflect on our progress and work still ahead, creating lasting positive change in the community. And in saying that, I want to one more time thank our elected officials that are here today who will represent us every day as we're building this community of Dallas. Black History Month is special to me because it reminds me of gratitude and sacrifice. I attended an event right around 20, maybe even 25 years ago, so I guess I'm dating myself since I only look about 25, right? But the speaker got up and he said something that has never left me. And you know, you attend an event and somebody says something that kind of shakes you to the core and you just never forget it. He said something to the effect of, right, because I was a college student at the time, he goes, "You haven't really lived as an African American until you've seen things that would make a glass eye cry." He said his grandmother had taught him that, and he gave this long speech about what she lived through and all the challenges and just the whole family history that he walked through, and it just was enough to bring everybody at that event to tears when he was talking about his family back in Alabama and what they lived through. And so anyway, it just brought a lot to me because I feel like we're privileged. And I think we forget that, especially some of us that are a little younger in years that may not have had the same semblance of sacrifice, that we're actually standing on the shoulders of other people who gave so much and saw so little in their time. But if they were able to look forward into history and see who we are today, they would applaud. They would recognize that all the prayers and all the sacrifices that they made, the speeches, the walks, just the things that we could spend a bunch of time talking about today, that we look back and some people just want to forget it. But months like this, times like this, that we need to use this month as an opportunity to educate ourselves and others. Because there's still things in Black history that we so often forget. There's always some new fact or something that I'm reminded of that I so often forget. Contributions made by people who look a lot like me. Contributions not just to this community, but to this fabric of a community called the United States of America. And Mr. Atkins brought it up earlier. We are a fabric of this country. We help build it. And we can't forget that. And each day as we work and we do what we do for the city of Dallas, don't forget you represent not only yourself, but a community. And take that seriously every day. And finally, I just want to thank the Office of Equity and Inclusion, the Office of Arts and Culture, helped putting this event together, and BEST, who has for so many years been a bedrock here at the city of Dallas as an organization set with the empowerment of people of color that work here, and have always lots of events and just a lot of history there with BEST. So I just want to celebrate them as well. And everybody, please pay close attention and enjoy today's remaining event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assistant City Manager Donzel Gibson, and thank you for highlighting BEST Black Employee Support Team. And those of you who are members, if you're in the house and you want to wave your hand or applause, go ahead and do so. I see you waving. I'm going to wave both my hands. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. All right, we're getting ready for one of the main events that we're here today is our fireside chat. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce both of the speakers for the chat. So if you'll hold your applause at the end, when they come up, we can applaud for them. All right. So Wendell Tenner is our Youth Commission Representative, District 7. Wendell Tenner is a proud native of Natchez, Mississippi. He moved to Texas at the age of 4 and pursued his education at some of Dallas' top schools, including the Judge Barefoot Sanders Law Magnet. In February 2024, he was appointed Youth Commissioner for District 7 by Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Adam Balzadua, advocating for young people in his community. He's passionate about music, politics, social justice, and equity. He aspires to teach music and become a civil rights immigration attorney. He has dedicated his service and is driven by a deep belief in philanthropy of love and for humanity. And we also have Ms. Margie Johnson Reese, Interim Director of the African American Museum. Ms. Reese is a seasoned arts management professional with a 45-year career shaping cultural policy and institutions. She has led the Office of Cultural Affairs for the City of Dallas and the Department of Cultural Affairs in Los Angeles, spearheading major cultural initiatives. As a grant maker for the Ford Foundation, she advanced cultural heritage projects across West Africa. Ms. Reese has also held leadership roles at Big Thought and Wichita Falls Alliance for Arts and Culture, mentoring arts leaders of culture through the National Leaders of Color Fellowship. Her numerous accolades include the 2019 Selena Roberts Alton Award and the 2020 Vision Nonprofit Arts Leader of Bliss Award. She currently serves as the transitional leader for the African American Museum in Dallas and consults on art policy nationwide. Would you please welcome to the City of Dallas Fireside Chat, Ms. Margie Johnson Reese and Mr. Wendell Tenner.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Most importantly, good afternoon to you, Ms. Reese. How are you doing today? So I want to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for being here today. Thank everybody for being here today. You're on your own time, so it's very important that we keep respect to that and also pay homage to our in African American history. So it was recently mentioned that you stepped into the role of interim executive director, and that was after Dr. Harry Robinson's retirement. So can you tell us what that transition has been like for you?
It's very scary. Dr. Harry Robinson Jr., as you all know, is a treasure in our city, and his vision launched, imagined, created the Dallas African American Museum. And that institution is one of few institutions in this country that is a collecting museum. It has its own building that was partnered by the City of Dallas to get it built on the site of what we knew as the Negro Hall of Life during the early days of the State Fair of Texas. So stepping in to keep the museum moving with a really strong board is an incredible opportunity for me. And if I tell you I have lost more sleep in the last 60 days than ever before, it is all true, because it's a tough role, but I'm enjoying every second of it.
Well, I want to enjoy some of that time with you too. So we're enjoying some right now, but we're talking about the African American Museum here in Dallas, which is one of 300 out of 35,000 museums in the U.S. So when we're talking about what's going on today with the elimination of DEI, that's ripping up some of our history. So why is it important that we keep things like that, especially in a city like this? And by things like that, I mean the African American Museum. So why is it important?
Well, thanks for that. That's a really good question. And I want to say to everybody in this room, first of all, and you may quote me, I don't give a hoot about DEI. Those are 3 letters that cannot define us as a people. So the term was created, and if something can be created, it can be recreated, right? So the role of the African American Museum right now is to keep us steady. The song that we all sang together said, "Facing the rising sun." I'm not a preacher, but y'all gonna make me go there today.
Go ahead, no.
The sun is not setting on us by any means. As the council member said, we did build this country, and it is ours to maintain. Our stories are ours to maintain. Museums do 3 things. They collect, they preserve, and they interpret. And the only people that can interpret our story is us. And so if we don't understand that this institution, the African American Museum, is more important than ever, I want to make sure that you hear it from me first. Other than your church and your family, you must pay attention to what is happening at that institution. Our children need to know the history of this city is in that building, but also the history of America and your family's history. So it's important, people. White folks don't have to protect our history for us. They cannot interpret our history for us, but they help us move an agenda forward, and we all need to be on that path If that museum would ever fail, it's not going to fail on my watch. I can guarantee you that. But if it would ever fail, shame on us.
I don't even know if I want to ask another question after that. That was amazing.
Come on with it. You don't want none of this today.
That was amazing. So, there's a lot of history in that museum that we all created, whether it's us or our ancestors. And you are in that museum every day. So my question to you is, what are some of your favorite exhibits there that tell the most?
I would say that my favorite exhibit is one that showcases a collection of artifacts. It's one of our permanent exhibitions. It showcases a collection of artifacts from the Freedmanstown area of Dallas that was an area disturbed in a good way by the expansion of Central Expressway some years ago. And in the process, the state of Texas Department of Transportation was excavating the ground, to make the ground ready to expand, and they found human remains and objects of a society. And at the time, I was working for the city, so there is life after the city, as the director of the Office of Cultural Affairs, and I got a phone call from an engineer saying, "So sorry to bother you, but we found this stuff, and we need to know what to do with it." So that opened up years of exhuming the artifacts, human remains, objects of a time gone by, and reinterring those materials, reinterring the human remains into the cemetery next to it, which is a Jewish cemetery. The objects that were collected from that live archaeological site are in the African American Museum, interpreted by African American curators. There's a bulk of that material that's also in the Dallas Museum of Art, but that material belongs to the city. And so both museums are only caretakers of that. When I walk through that exhibition, as I end my day every day, I think of what the council member said earlier. The history of Dallas is yet to be told, but I would invite you all to come to the museum and see that material so you understand we are not the first. We're also not the last. But you must come and see that material to remind you of the kind of tumultuous life our ancestors had to live, but also to remind you of the joy that I feel when I think about Maya Angelou's edict to us that we are the hope and the dream of the slave.
That's amazing. Thank you. And the next question, I want to ask a little bit of a little favor or opinion, a little off script. So last March, I got to go to the African American Museum in DC. I will be returning to that one, but I haven't got the chance to go to the one in Dallas. And a part of history is education. In order to understand history, you have to be educated. And as youth, it's important that we learn not only where we come from, but how we can build on top of that. So I guess something that you would normally say to the youth is come to the museum to learn. But what is your advice to not only young people like me, but everyone here is young in your different ways, let's just say that. You're young. So what is your advice to everyone and young people in specific about maintaining history, learning from it, not only in a museum, but using that as a stepping stone to excellence?
Well, I would say lots of things, like shame on you for not having come to the Dallas African American Museum, but I'm going to let you get by. I'm not going to talk about you in front of all these people. I would say to young people that pride in yourself, never allowing anybody to make you feel less than, not allowing yourself to be othered by anybody, to to do your research, to have hope, all of those important things that our mothers and grandmothers and fathers have said to us over time. But I would also say, take a chance on yourself. Risk something. Get outside of a safety net and try to do something that you feel is important to you, to your life, and to our future as a people. Being safe is overrated. I'm 74 years old. And when I was asked to come and do this job, I said, where's my bag? Let's go do this. Because if we don't do it for ourselves, if we don't take a chance on ourselves, what do our children think of us?
Let's give a round of applause for that. So, today, Mayor Pro Tem Tanel Atkins, Assistant City Manager Gibson, said that our theme is moving forward with purpose and impact, right? You said take a chance, so we're going to take a chance, and that involves moving forward with purpose and impact. So, since that's a theme, what does it mean to you, and how can we all apply it? Not only to the museum, but in our daily lives. Because what did Mr. Gibbs say? Every day is Black History, correct? Every day is Black History. So how can we apply moving forward with impact and purpose into our lives?
I've been trying to think about that ever since I was asked to have this conversation, and I believe that what it says to me is make every second count. Make every move count. Do so with intentionality. It is my intent to let everybody know that Black history is important. I'm not going to be shy and try to sneak around and say that. I had a conversation with a young lady the other day, and she was chastising me about my approach to being interviewed during Black History Month. And I said to her, you see this part right here? It doesn't come off. I can't take it off. And I have a great deal of pride in this face. And I want you to know that. And so I don't trust somebody to read between the lines or to try to guess what I'm saying. Blackness is who we are. It is a soulful experience. It's a cultural, historic experience. If I'm Latino, I feel the same way. If I'm Asian, I feel the same way. But God has blessed me with this.
Amen. My next question.
You got more.
Hey, I mean, we could talk all day, and I'm going to talk all day, but that day ends at 1 p.m. I guess my next question would be, because you're in a position not only of excellence, but it's something that should be remembered. No matter which position we get in, we're going to face challenges, but every challenge is a learning experience. So what's something that you've learned, not only as the interim director, but in your lifetime, that should be applied? And it doesn't have to necessarily relate to history, but what's something that you have learned that you feel like really stands with you?
Wow, I think it's respect. In order to get it, you must give it. And I have learned, and you heard in my brief bio, I have lived and worked all over the world. The most impactful, however, was a short time, a 3-year period, when I worked for the Ford Foundation, and I had to travel to West Africa, live there. And one of my countries that I served was Mali. And what's in Mali is Timbuktu. And people say, oh, is that a real place? It's a real place with real people that look just like you and I. And it is the birthplace of knowledge. And one of the things that I learned when I got off the plane, was ushered into the space where we were having dinner, is I walked into the home of the family that was hosting me, and I smelled smothered chicken, just like I smelled it in my grandmother's house. So our roots are deep, you guys. We must respect those roots. We must respect the people that we meet every day, whether they look like us or not, because every one of us has a story. And I think the respect that I got from people around the world that I had a chance to work with is the same that I give to the people in this room. That we are more powerful than we know. We're more resourceful than we know. And if I respect each one of you, I am truly determined that I'm going to learn something from everybody in this room. And I respect that. And I respect you much more than you know, because you have to carry this burden forward with joy and with victory ahead.
Thank you. The wisdom that you bring is something that everyone should take note from here. When it comes to wisdom, the first thing I think about is a quote. So, first, what is your favorite quote and why? But not what specifically about that quote made it your personal favorite quote.
I wish I could be really succinct, but I'm going to try to do it in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. I read a lot of biographies, and one of my favorite biographies is the biography of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And he talks about a time when he was a school teacher in a poor West Texas town. And he knew that the children in that town who were Mexican Americans, he knew that they didn't have a chance in life if they didn't get a good education. And he vowed to himself that someday he was going to have the power to make sure that every child got a solid, free, level education. What I take from that, and I take it with me wherever I go, his final words were, when I get the chance, and he stood before Congress, Madam Councilwoman, and he said, now I have that chance. I'm the President of the United States. I have the power, and I intend to use it. So while I am on this earth with the gifts that I've been given, the experiences that I have had, while I have the power to help concretize the mission, the vision of Harry Robinson, and the mission of the African American Museum, I aim to use it. And I think that's something that I want us to just think about. You have the power. Shirking away from it is not effective. It's not. So I think that's just a little thing. If you have the power to help somebody, if you have the power to give somebody a smile, if you have the power to erase, eliminate a barrier for somebody, it's your responsibility to use that power.
Yes, ma'am. I want to turn back to when we said our theme was moving forward with purpose. T.S. Eliot once said, only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. You were asked to step into this role of interim director. You took that leap of faith. But what was it that you felt that, let me rephrase this question. What was the feeling that you had when you thought, hey, I'm about to be this director of this museum that preserves not only the history within Dallas, but history among the world? Because like it was mentioned, we weren't asked to be over here. We were brought over here. So again, going far showed you where you would go, but
I do believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. And I promise you, I was totally content living in my little house in Atlanta on the side of a hill, going to my grandson's Little League baseball games. And when Dr. Robinson talked to me about his retirement, et cetera, I thought, this is not something that I should consider. It's something that I should do. And I'm just really happy to remind all of us that sometimes we have to just accept the opportunities, because this isn't a challenge. It's an opportunity, and it's been given to us. And I'm just proud to be able to participate right now.
well, thank you. That has concluded our time. Unfortunately, I really want to go much further into detail. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the Honorable Mayor and City Council for hosting us in the Office of Community Care, who houses the Dallas Youth Commission now. Thank you to my director, Michael Peoples, Ms. Chanel Williams, and I always got to pay homage to Ms. Taylor Moody. And again, thank you to you, Ms. Marty.
And thank you for your leadership, for stepping up and helping us understand that we do have a future. And I appreciate you. I invite you to come to the museum and to bring your friends.
You hear that? You hear that? We gotta go.
Anytime that you, and thank you to all of you for listening to us.
Thank you.
Wow, this was amazing. Y'all give them a round of applause again. Mr. Wendell Tenner and Miss Margie Johnson Reese. Thank you so much. I am so inspired today, Miss Reese. I am going to make sure that I give a donation so that kids can attend the museum for free. I'm going to do that out of my own pocket. So I want to make sure that I get with you and that I take care of that. I'm so inspired by it. Okay. All right, that QR code is on the screen. And while we're talking about that, if you'll look around the room, we have vendors available. Please do not leave until you visit our vendors today. And we will have food at the end, but it is first come, first serve. Miss Yolanda, where are you? She has tickets, so if you haven't gotten a ticket, you can raise your hand if there's any left. She will meet you where you sit. All right, once again, that fireside chat was amazing. Thank you so much to our guests. We are now down to our closing remarks, and let me introduce the amazing council member, Carolyn King Arnold. All right, let me read that bio real quick. Councilman Carolyn King Arnold is a dedicated public servant representing District 4 in the City of Dallas Council for the past 4 terms. She made history in June of 2022 as the first African American woman to serve as Mayor Pro Tem. She chairs the Workforce, Education, and Equity Committee and actively contributes to the economic development, parks, and regional initiatives. A long advocate for education, social justice, and community engagement, she has led impactful programs like District 4 Faith-Based Coalition and Dallas 365 Safe Initiative. Also a member of BEST, the Black Employee Support Team. Please join me in welcoming Council Member Carolyn King Arnold.
Thank you, and I'm going to do the best I can to follow the script in this book. I have this book for a reason. But it is an honor to be here, and I realize that many of you have to get back to lunch, and it is great to have those employees who understood their assignment to put forth this particular activity today. I want to be clear. I do have a script, so I'm going to try to pay attention to that. Mr. Foster is worried to death that he knows I'm going to get out script, so but he's trying to keep me. But quickly, I came to, and I want to be clear for the record, I arrived here at City Hall in 2015, served from 2015 to 2017. I left out because I lost the race. That's what happened. But God had an assignment for me that time, in that period of time. So I returned in 2019, and I've served until today. So I want to be very clear on the record. I know politically it says consecutive terms, but factually, those terms have not been consecutive. Now, we have to be very clear in understanding, even with our history, we can't fall for the rope-a-dope. People will put things out and you just believe it. So you're going to have to understand, even today, to know your history, you have to research. You have to talk to your elders to understand how we arrived at where we are today. Now, I'll wrap that up, those comments, as I look at my script. So I'm pleased that you're here. I'm definitely pleased to have Chief Igo with us here today, any department, the chairmen that are here, Mr. Herbie Johnson and the band. This is one of my favorites. I've got about 2 of them, but he's definitely one of them. And he's another one of the individuals, and I don't know who's with you on the stage, but he's a wealth of history and knowledge in this system, especially not only in his neighborhood of Cedar Crest, but with the Dallas Independent School District. You never know who you're around that can impact your life in such a way that it can bring about a revolution in the way that you see things and you feel and you react. So I want to thank you definitely for what you've done through the years, not only through the music, but through that classroom as well. So this is my script. Go back, I was supposed to say good afternoon. Another round of applause for all of the participants. Of course, from the African American Museum, Juanita Craft Civil Rights House Museum, Office of Community Police Oversight and Freedom Trail. All those members here, and I miss you. All right, well, we put that on there just because it's here. Moving forward with the purpose. So as we think about the different perspectives that each culture brings, even though today, and I'm going to get off for just a moment, even though today as we talk about Black history, I'm one of those individuals who had the opportunity to go through a period of time where it started with, I think it was Negro History Week or something like that. We had a week. And I remember it was a struggle just to get the school to get it a part of the activities. But thank goodness for some of those seniors. Ethel Bray, I'll never forget her. She made sure that she took a group of the seniors into the room to talk to the principal, Mr. Bailey, to make sure we had a celebration, a recognition during that time. You didn't always have a month on the calendar. So it's always a struggle. Frederick Douglass says always going to be a struggle. If you're going to have progress, it's going to be a struggle. And so as we talk about Black History Month, it's just a time to kind of recap. Because one thing, as you stated, you're going to be Black 365 days out of the year. Nothing changes. But education works. I went to school in Durant, Oklahoma, where education had not permeated through the city. And so I had opportunity to, and I'll be real quick, Mr. Foster, and Mr. Kevin, you all know I will be, but to have my professor tell me he didn't see a Black person until he was 12. I'm like, where have you been? To have my friend tell me she went to the grocery store and the little girl walked up to her and did like this. This is real. But where we are now, in all of our Blackness, we understand that we are a nation of multicultural experiences. How many of you have what I call a nation, well, let me get the right word here. You have a blend of folks. When you have your family reunion, you know what I'm talking about? It's a blend of everything. And over time, we have morphed into a multicultural family. And so it's not unusual for you to go to your family reunion and have your niece who speaks Spanish. It's not unusual to have someone who's in my case, the uncle, the nephew, the cousin, who's part Japanese. We have a good time, but this is becoming the norm. But it's good for you to educate so folks will understand your history. And so just a quick little test, some of you need to go back and some of you know this. For those who don't, some of you may be too young. How many of you know what the look is? You know what the look is? Be in a room with the adults, you know what the look is? You know what happens when, remember the days when they pull out the extension cord? Some of you probably too young. Chief Argo, you might want to close your ears on that one. When they pull that extension cord out and you run it all across the house, that's when you and your mama ran track together around the house. And so you remember also when your mother said she was going to beat the way out of you, and you're like, still today, what is the way? And then she'd talk about get out of here with all that rigmarole. And so some of you went to church on Sundays laughing at the deacons. You know, guide me all. You know what I'm talking about. Those are good historical moments. But it's part of our history that makes us a little unique. But I can tell you every culture has that. But what I'm going to tell you today as I move on to my seat, as you stated, sister, if we sit here in our Black tears crying and moaning and groaning about what you can't do, and it doesn't happen, it's nobody's fault but yours. Everybody here has an assignment. You have talents that you've been blessed with, regardless of race, creed, or color. You have an assignment. There's a favorite poem that I have. It's called The Dash. From the beginning to the end, what do you do in between? The worst thing I can see on a day-to-day basis is, especially when you go to a black funeral, you know the word we made up, we're going to funeralize them today. But when you stand there and you force that preacher to stand there and make up all kinds of stories, Brother Foster, Brother Proctor, and you're going, well, when did they do that? When did that happen? You ought to live your life every day to the fullest extent possible, but you always help somebody along the way. You know your assignment. Some of us in this room are fortunate enough to know that DEI, integration, affirmative action, quotas, all of those about the same thing, same era. You've got to understand the assignment. The youth look up to us for guidance, but you have to take on the responsibility of learning. You have now the ability to Google up information at a moment's notice. There's no excuse for us to be in the dark. I would love to talk to you a little bit more at length, but I can't do that. But what I will tell you today, you have an assignment. I know my assignment. There is a struggle every day. I struggle here with the council. You understand, some of you, I've said this before, if I don't take up for myself, nobody else will. I have to work still 3 times as hard as my counterparts on the council. I don't mind telling them that, because there's always a doubt about who I am because of my blackness and because of my age. And so I wear both of them proudly. But today, as I go to my seat, your assignment is to take care of your business. Every morning, I know when I get up, I can help someone on the way. But God bless me in this position to be able to expedite that assistance that I can give to those who need. And I'm very proud of that. But if you don't take care of your business now, upon your death, it's too late. So give people where they are living and their flowers, or you give them when they're living. And to me, today, it has been an absolute honor for Mr. Kevin and the best to invite me to speak, maybe my last time here speaking, because he always has to put a clock on me, and Mr. Foster's doing this. But it just means so much to me for those of you who've always been very professional, very cordial, and very supportive. As I walk through these halls, never intimidated. My name is Carolyn King Arnold. I am proud to be here. I serve in the capacity as city councilwoman, and I know who I am. I'm not the title, I'm the woman. Take care of your business today. Today is what is the date? What's the date? Start today. Take care of your business. Save some of our institutions. Can you imagine what it would be if you would just give $5 to the museum, all of you in the room, $5 to feed families, $5 to fight some of the indiscretions that are taking place against your community? Start today. It's not going to break you, but what will break you is when you look back and say this: I wish I shoulda, coulda, doulda, hadda. It don't work like that. So thank you so very much. And once again, I don't have a problem saying this, Chief Igo. I do support Chief Igo. Where he goes, I go in terms of supporting him. But what I can say is this: he's here today. He doesn't have to be here in this position right now. But he has demonstrated his commitment not only to Dallas, but to our community. And so I thank you for doing that. But you have got to understand your assignment, and it starts today on this very date. Thank you so very much. I'm Carolyn King Arnold, District 4, where we do more.
Mic drop. Go ahead and give her a round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that empowering message. This is the end of our program, but we want to take a moment and thank those that are here today from our council, our elected officials. Thank you so much for attending today. Chief Igo, thank you. Y'all give him a round of applause. Thank you for your unwavering support. We also want to thank the leadership of Assistant City Manager Donzel Gibson. Thank you so much. And what can we say about the Office of Equity and Inclusion, which put on this program today? The Office of Arts and Culture, Communications, and Customer Experience. Thank you so much, Bess. Thank you all so much. This has been amazing. Special thank you to Cedric Secundiata for our prayer and for Reginald Jackson for our national anthem. And listen, we're going to close with this band going out, but y'all just give them a round of applause for the Herbie Johnson Jazz Band. Thank you to the Office of Community Police Oversight and the Juanita Craft Rights House and museum staff for having a table with us today. And especially thank you to everyone who attended today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Did I forget anything?
That's okay. I'll do it.
Okay.
If we can, no, just for eating, but
Okay, thank you. What do you want to say?
we'll just let it go. We'll let,
First come, first serve?
yeah.
I already said that. Oh.